Welcome back to the channel, guys. Man, this is by far, I think, my favorite trail I've ever done. A little bit tough, but really, really beautiful, really amazing. Hopefully you saw that in the video. There's a good amount of stuff to talk about here, so this video will be a little bit longer, but I promise you, everything you need to know, you're gonna be well prepared going out tackling this trail. So let's just jump into those details. Duck Lake via Emerald Lake Trail is a 7.5 mile, lightly trafficked out and back trail located near Mammoth Lakes, California, that features multiple lakes. The trail is rated as difficult and is primarily used for hiking. Dogs are able to use this trail. Yes, the dogs would not recommend it. Kids can, would not recommend it. I'll explain why in a minute. So even though it says 7.5 miles, elevation gain 1,800 feet, route type and out and back, I had my Garmin with me and I clocked it in at 8.7 miles. We did do some deviations to Arrowhead Lake, which I'll explain. It's probably about 8.3 miles if I had to guess. So not really 7.5, for sure not 7.5. Now, total elevation gain, I had it at 1962. And keep in mind, you reach 10,700 feet at the top. It's quite the elevation. So even for those that are in shape, you know, you're struggling to get some air in you. Keep that in mind, and it's primarily the reason why this hike is rated as difficult. It's that last push to Duck Lake. It's hard to get your breath at the very end. Uphill to begin with, went back down via Arrowhead, would recommend, gorgeous views. Great hike. You're able to see 5 lakes, also true. Relatively difficult trail. Let's talk about how to get here, and then I'll just start explaining the trail. Very, very easy. The way to get here is at Emerald Lake Trailhead. It is through the Coldwater Creek Campground Road. I made a trail on Emerald Lake in 2019, sometime in my earlier YouTube career. Definitely check it out. Very easy hike, about 1.5 miles, perfect for small children, dogs, if you're trying to get a really beautiful hike in quick. Starts in the same place. So you would drive through the entire campground, which is kind of the weird thing, and then you show up near the end here where there's a parking lot. Now it is important to note that right next to it is Duck Lake Pass Trail, which we'll talk about in a second. Okay, so getting here, relatively easy. Let's now talk about the trail, and I'm gonna split it up into sections. First part of the hike goes to Emerald Lake. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now it starts off and it's a little bit of a climb, and then it kind of evens out. And there's a really nice, beautiful walk, kind of meadow-like, through up until Emerald Lake. Emerald Lake is beautiful, again, really easy. Make sure you check out that trail video if you haven't. From there, once you're at Emerald Lake and you hike up to Skelton Lake, that is quite a climb. It has its parts that are pretty steep, and you know that feeling where you're going up and you're like, I'm almost there, and then you get there and you're like, oh no! That part from Emerald to Skelton all the way here, and you can see how it just kind of goes up. It's a bit tough. Now Skelton Lake is, if I could choose one lake to just hang out at all day, it would be Skelton Lake. Looks shallow, really nice, kind of almost like June, right, where there's sand. You can set up some chairs and just hang out, take some lunch. It was absolutely beautiful. Now, the reason I make this distinction, I'm putting out a separate video that was the hike to Skelton Lake through Duck Pass Trail, as I mentioned before, right next to Emerald Trailhead. That trail was much more gradual. So yes, the incline was longer, but it's gradual. It's got some switchbacks. It's a little bit easy. The hike from Emerald Trail to Skelton, I'm telling you guys, you know, got the heart going. It was a bit tough. I'm not saying you can't do it, but it was definitely like, whoa, you know, we did some work to get up here. From there to Barney Lake, it's really gradual, beautiful, pretty easy, very, very easy. This part honestly was flat and just really, really enjoyable. A little bit of an incline, nothing major. Now from Barney Lake, and I want to show here, this last point here, right? From Barney Lake up to Duck Lake, I dubbed it as Death Mountain. The reason for it is you're at Barney Lake and you look up and it's loose rock. Like loose, big rock, small rock, loose rock. All the way up this mountain, and you kind of look up and you're like, I think we're going up there. There's some switchbacks, but that elevation climb at the very end, it's what gets you. That's the part that when you get up there, you're like, made it, 10,700 feet. That is a rough climb. This is where I don't recommend children and dogs. I slipped, again, very loose rock. If your dog, you know, something happens to their paw, to get out of here, you get to Duck Lake, it's beautiful, it's amazing. The only criticism I have of this trail is that there's no like stopping point. So at the very end here, you kind of see the trail split, but it's not like the peak, right? We made it. It's like you're here and you're like, okay, you know, you could stop before that. You could take a hike to Pika Lake around if you want. But overall, I mean, so freaking beautiful, right? So you see Emerald, Skelton, Barney, Duck. On the way back, Again, we went back the Ducks Pass Trail and we stopped at Lake Arrowhead, which was also magnificent. So many lakes, so many views, so many awesome photos. I'm really glad I ended up doing this trail. So if you have the time, would definitely recommend. It took us about 5 hours with stopping, taking pictures, taking a break. Just keep that in mind if you're thinking of going, how much time you may need for sunset. That's it for this video. Stay tuned, got plenty more content coming your way.